While relieving himself, the man suddenly noticed a hand growing from the tree. Before he could react, the hand began moving eerily. The man was instantly overcome with panic and hurried back to tell his companions about the monster lurking in the forest. His friends dismissed Paul as a scaremonger. Seeing their disbelief, Paul pulled back his clothes to reveal claw marks on his skin, claiming he'd been scratched by something unknown. While sleeping in the tent the previous night, they must leave this cursed place at once. The group reluctantly followed Paul out. What they didn't know was, a terrifying monster truly lurked in the forest, and the reason they had come to this eerie wood was to fulfill the dying wish of a friend who had passed away, to climb the mountain he had longed to scale. But just as they prepared to return, one companion accidentally twisted his ankle. This forced them to abandon the original path and take a shortcut through the forest instead. The moment they stepped inside, their compass began spinning wildly. This portended grave danger for their journey. Sure enough, not long after, they witnessed a horrifying sight. A wild deer hung from a tree. They assumed it was bait set by hunters. With nightfall approaching, they pressed on. But before long, the sky darkened, and a torrential downpour began. More terrifyingly, they were lost. Then they spotted a small cabin. To escape the downpour, they rushed inside. But as Paul prepared to enter, he suddenly heard a growl behind him. When he shone his flashlight, nothing seemed amiss. Little did they know they'd caught the monster's attention. Inside the cabin, they found strange objects hanging on the walls. Assuming they were left by hunters, they paid them no mind. But upon reaching the second floor, they witnessed an eerie scene. A headless scarecrow stood with arms raised, as if performing a mysterious ritual. Even more terrifying, the scarecrow's feet resembled human feet. This unsettling sight left them too shaken to think, and they fell asleep early. Yet while they slept, something approached the cabin outside. When Paul opened his eyes again, it was the next day. Strangely, upon standing up, he found himself in a supermarket. Before he could process it, a sudden, excruciating pain shot through his body. He then appeared in the forest, and something seemed to slip away. He quickly pulled up his shirt to discover claw marks on his body. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed from inside the house. But when he entered the room, he found his companions seemingly trapped in a dream. Even more terrifying, they had lost one of their group. When Paul went upstairs to search, he discovered his companion kneeling before a scarecrow, as if controlled by some force. Only after Paul's persistent shouting did everyone snap back to consciousness. Realizing the place was deeply unsettling, they hurriedly fled. But shortly after setting off, they spotted another cabin ahead. After last night's ordeal, they decided to bypass the cabin. But just then, a companion who twisted his ankle could no longer keep up. Realizing they couldn't advance blindly, Paul volunteered to scout ahead. Suddenly, he saw a hand emerge from the trees ahead, followed by the fleeting shadow of an unknown creature. Recognizing the danger, Paul urgently signaled for everyone to retreat. But night swiftly descended once more. They had no choice but to rest where they were. But just as they settled down, footsteps echoed outside. Then, a companion's tent was torn open. Terrified, Paul rushed out of his tent, only to hear the monster's growl and his companion's agonized scream. Realizing something was terribly wrong, Paul and two companions rushed to investigate. Strangely, they searched all night without finding the creature. By the next day, they realized their companion had been killed. They decided heading in one direction might lead them out of the forest. Yet before they had gone far, they were suddenly stunned by the sight before them. Their companion's body hung from a tree.